Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good morning, and bonjour à tous to our French listeners. Welcome to the third day of Wiki Indaba, and we've had some engaging sessions so far, but now we are moving into the individual rooms. This is room C, and the presentation here is building organizer tools for the future of campaigns. And to be able to share that will be Ilana Fried, Felix Nati, and and Gregory Onyelam. And on trust and safety is Stella Agbley, and I'll be the session host. My name is Alice Chibombo. This is a space in which we are enforcing the Wikimedia Safe Space policy. In case you have questions, put them in the chat area or in the Q&A section, and we'll be in a position to answer them when time allows. Ilana, Felix, and Gregory, the space is yours.
Thank you very much, Alice. Hello, everybody. My name is Felix Nate, and I am a senior program officer with the community programs team at the Wikimedia Foundation. Welcome to our session on building organizer tools for the future of campaigns. We're excited to share more about the work we have been doing around organizing within Wikimedia. Next slide, please. So for the purposes of our presentation today, we will be talking about content campaigns because there might be people who are just joining from outside of Wikimedia who may not know what content campaigns are. We will also be talking about why campaigns need software, and then we will introduce our product team and then talk about the first project that our product team is working on. And then there will be a time for question and answers, which we will welcome all your questions that you have for our team. Thank you very much. Next slide.
Yeah, thank you so much, Willie.
So I will be doing a brief introduction of campaigns, and we'll hand it over to my other colleagues to talk more about what we're building to support the larger campaigns ecosystem. So campaigns are an important part of our movement and have lately been one of the ways that organizers are tackling topical gaps within Wikimedia. So what then are campaigns? Campaigns are literally just activities that someone contributors. It can be new or current contributors around specific topics or themes or means of contribution within a stipulated period of time, right? And then contests, on the other hand, are campaigns themselves, but then they are mostly established to focus on Wikimedians, and the primary focus for that is mostly quality of content, and there is an award or reward at the end of that. Now, we lately have seen campaigns happening in various different projects of Wikimedia, but I think the top ones at the moment are Wikidata, Wikisource, Wikipedia, and Wikimedia Commons. Next slide, please.
We are now at Wiki Indaba.
I am pretty sure you have encountered or participated in one of these campaigns. For just context purposes and for other people who are on the call who may not necessarily know our movement, I'll mention a couple of them. So Wiki Loves Africa is the annual African contest for the Wikimedia community, where we are depicting stories from Africa through photography and other audiovisual formats. And One Lib, One Ref, my favorite campaign, actually a campaign that I organize every year to solicit for citations on Wikipedia to ensure that content on Wikipedia is credible, reliable, and so that everybody can use it. I want to also highlight another one, Art and Feminism, which is a campaign that focuses on portraying all the levels of people and society through arts and culture and through feminism and through gender, right? And so these are some examples of content that we do within the Wikimedia space. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so
So why do we need softwares for campaigns, actually? Next slide. Our campaign organizing ecosystem has become very complex over time, with multiple layers of interaction amongst participants and organizers. This graphic on my screen right now showcases the level of complexity that exists within the campaign organizing ecosystem. So as indicated in the graphic, you will mostly find campaign organizers organizing at the international levels who also interact with organizers at the regional level or national levels, and sometimes even the ordinary participant just participating in the campaign. Organizing at this level of complexity often requires tools to enhance and support the work that organizers do, because it's either these tools are going to be helping the campaign or organizer to track their campaign, to collect information about the participants, or making their event pages appealing for their prospective campaign participants. These and many other requests or opportunities are all the things that the movement organizers research has highlighted. You can read more about it on our campaigns page on Meta, actually. Next slide. So this is definitely a big technical opportunity for us to build robust systems and softwares to improve the organizing and participating journeys of both organizers and participants respectively. A few more reasons why it is a great opportunity. The current tools that exist within the Wikimedia movement that we've been using for a while have very long learning curves and often do not talk to each other. And this often makes it hard for new organizers to feel supported or reach early success. A typical example is an organizer who creates an event on Meta, right? And then wants to be able to track their activity. And so they somewhat go and create like their program on the dashboard. Now, these organizers would have to send campaign participants to two different places. And through this process, sometimes they lose participants who may feel like it's too much work for them to go through that particular participating journey, right? And so this is an example of why we need software to actually help us improve the work that we do within the Wikimedia campaign space. Now, the movement strategies focus also on topics for impact, means that we need to be ready to scale campaigns, because once we delve into those areas, then it's more important to look out for how we can build tools to support that. And so there will be more organizers going forward in the future in our communities, more campaigns happening, more topics, and that means that more tools to actually help us facilitate through those particular journeys. I will now hand over to Ilana to take you through what tools we are thinking about within the campaigns product team. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Ilana, and I'm the product manager for the campaigns team at the Wikimedia Foundation. So first, I'll talk a little bit about the team. So campaigns is a new team at the Wikimedia Foundation. We formed in 2021. We're a software and product development team, and we're focused on building and improving tools for campaign organizers and participants. Our goal is to provide software solutions that empower and support campaign organizers. So for experienced organizers, we want to simplify their workflows and provide more powerful tools. And for new organizers, we want to make it easier to become effective long-term organizers. Can you all hear me? I saw comments that you can't hear me.
I am able to hear you.
Okay,
Let's see what can be done in the background.
Okay, so I will continue. As a team, we want to be building solutions that are impactful to organizers. So to do this, we decided to first talk directly to a lot of different organizers. We set up calls with over 50 campaign organizers who worked in different kinds of campaigns, in different wikis, and in different parts of the world. In our chats with the organizers, we wanted to know what was working for them, what wasn't working for them, and what problems they wanted us to solve. And from these conversations, we identified 11 key requests or problem areas, which included the following: a central place where organizers can find tools and resources available to them, easy ways to create high quality, contemporary looking event pages, better tools to promote campaigns on and off wiki, improving the ease of finding events for newcomers, easy on-wiki ways to register participants, better tools to communicate with participants and other campaign organizers, better ways to track, analyze, and report impacts, and easier ways for participants to receive recognition and find what to do next after the campaign event ends. Okay, so we feel that the best way to address these many problems is to treat them as interconnected issues that need to be addressed at a systematic level. So rather than saying, okay, we're going to pick that problem or that problem, we want to build out a larger platform that can provide support to organizers overall. This will be a two-sided platform with an organizer side and a participant side. This platform will be modular, meaning features can be separated and recombined, and will be extensible, meaning we'll work on features for the platform, but other teams or volunteer developers can also build out features too. And this platform will start small and will grow over time. Our first project for the platform is registration, and we'll show in the next slide how it can support future work. Okay, so in this diagram, we'll show how we can address the 11 campaign event requests that we discussed in a previous slide over time. So we'll start by building an early version of an organizer center and a registration system, which will be building blocks for future work. So for example, after we build an on-wiki registration solution, we can build out the ability to create events in a standardized, structured way. Then from there, we can build an event discovery or event calendar tool where people can learn about and easily join campaign events. In this diagram, one thing that's important to note is that the more arrows something has, the more complex it is. So this is because there are many dependencies, and early steps would ideally be taken for these projects before building out the features. So for example, for next steps or the participant center, these are really complex spaces, and ideally we should be working on some other projects first before we get to them. Another thing to note is that this diagram is also color-coded. So green is what we plan to focus on first. Purple is what we'll probably focus on next after our registration project, and where we predict that we'll begin to see impact around organizer empowerment and organizer growth. Finally, blue is the most complex work, and it'll probably be the space we focus on last. This is where we can predict to see an impact in the number of participants joining campaigns and how successful they are as editors both during and after campaign events. So now let's talk about our first project, which is building a registration solution. Okay, so for this project, our objective is to build an on-wiki registration, configuration, and management solution. Our goal is that we want to empower organizers by making it easy to see who is coming to campaign events and how to effectively support them. This way, organizers can identify opportunities for growth and re-engagement within their communities and their contexts. So what are the current problems with registration solutions? Right now, there are a lot of different problems, which we'll briefly run through, but generally speaking, the current solutions are time-consuming for organizers, and they're not integrated with tracking tools like the Programs and Events dashboard. For on-wiki solutions in particular, they tend to look and feel outdated, and they're technically challenging for newcomers. They provide minimal information on participants and their needs, and it's difficult for organizers to contact participants. For the off-wiki solutions, they aren't integrated with Wikimedia wikis and workflows. They're difficult for participants to edit. Participants can't see who else joined the event, and they're not generally supportive of multilingual communities or the values around privacy that are so core to the Wikimedia movement. So what's our vision? First, let's talk about the advantages of the on-wiki and off-wiki registration solutions. So for on-wiki registration, the advantages are that they're integrated with Wikimedia workflows and privacy standards, And as a registrant, you can see everyone else who registered for the event in a public place. For off-wiki advantages, organizers can collect rich participant information, and it's easy for everyone to register for the event. So our vision is really the best of both worlds in that we want to blend the communalism from on-wiki solutions with the ease of use from off-wiki solutions. And we have an added bonus, which is integration with tracking tools. So if participants register for an event, their usernames will be automatically pushed to the organizer's tracking tool of choice, such as the Programs and Events dashboard or Event Metrics. That means you as an organizer will no longer need to manually add the usernames to the dashboard yourself or ask participants to manually add their usernames to the dashboard. Another thing we like to address is around our sort of coding choices. So some people have asked why we aren't considering using an existing open source solution for registration. We're just onboarding our engineers now in the team, so there's no decisions that are firmly in stone, but generally as a principle, I'll say that we want to build something that is actually integrated into Wikimedia workflows and systems, so we can build a larger campaign events platform over time. So there may be certain open source solutions we can use in the back end, which will be the determination of the engineers in the team. But really our main goal is to integrate organizing activity onto the wikis rather than keeping them off of the wikis. So what are the benefits of a registration solution? With a new registration solution that's on Wiki, organizers can get an easier configuration experience of the registration, more information on participants, better support for languages, integration with wikis, and integration with tracking tools. Meanwhile, participants can get an easier event registration experience, an easier account creation experience, and we'll show more about what we mean by that when Gregory shares the wireframes, a view of other campaign participants, and better onboarding onto the wikis overall. So the last thing I will say is this, in that we want to build in an agile and iterative way. So this means that we want to start building something small so we can test it and get feedback from all of you. And then once we get the feedback and we know what needs to be fixed or what may need to be changed, then we can expand and eventually build more features over time. So the first version of the registration system will probably be pretty basic and slimmed down, but over time, here's some things that we imagine as we build out the feature that our new registration system can provide. Organizers asking for optional information of participants, like their wiki skill level or gender. Organizers being able to specify which information in the registration form is public versus private. Organizers being able to apply search filters on the participant list and sending targeted messages to participants based on those filters. Organizers being able to contact participants based on their contact method of choice. Newcomers being directed to onboarding tools and resources both before and after campaign events. And organizers being able to create standardized, visually appealing event pages and more. So now I'm going to pass the slides and the presentation on to Gregory, our senior UX designer on the team, and he'll be sharing some wireframes. One last thing I'll say is these are wireframes. We haven't built anything yet. So we're sharing it because we want to get your feedback and hear what you think. So now take it away, Gregory.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Nala. Like she mentioned, I'm Gregory. I'm the designer on the campaigns team at Wikimedia. Next slide. So these are just early ideas on we have on how the flow for campaign organizers to add a registration process to their campaign events. So a campaign organizer who has already created an event page and perhaps set up a tracking tool, and who wants to add a registration process to their campaign events. The current idea we have is that the campaign organizer goes to the user menu you can see above there, and in the drop down you can see second to the last option in the drop down is campaign events. So they can click on it to go to the registration creation page. Next slide. So this page introduces them to how they can create a registration process for their campaign events, and they can proceed to do that by clicking on the create registration button. Next slide. So once they do that, they are shown a page where they put in general information about the campaign events, such as the event page URL, name of event, start date and time, location, whether it's going to be online or physical or both, the tracking tool that's of their choice, for example, the dashboard and the event metrics. They also you can also you can add the usernames of other organizers who will be working with them. And if their campaign event has a group chat invite link, if they have a group chat, they can add the invite link in the form so that it can be sent to participants after they register to join whether it's Telegram or WhatsApp group invite link. So once they are done with filling this information, they can proceed to create a registration. Next slide. So once they have created a registration process for their campaign events, this is how the event page will look like. So this is an example event page, a sample event page we use. So the only addition here is the interface you can see below, the bottom sheet you can see below. So once campaign organizers have added the registration process to their campaign events, they can the bottom sheet you can see below appears on their event pages. So participants who want to register for this event can go directly to event pages and register. Next slide. So on clicking on the bottom sheet that's shown below, it expands to give more extra details about the campaign events. So you can see the date, time, location, the names of the organizers, and the list of all the participants who have registered for the event. And participants can then proceed to click on the registration button to register for the event. Next slide. So participants who haven't signed in yet or don't have an account on Wiki, when they try to register for the events, for the campaign events, they are asked to either log in if they have an account or sign up if they don't have. So for those who have an account, can easily put in their username and password and log in. And for those who don't have accounts, they can click on sign up. Next slide. So those who don't have an account can immediately create their accounts in a few minutes, and just by entering their username, password, and email address, and they can proceed to sign up on Wiki. Next slide. So once they are done signing up, that's for those who don't have accounts, they are automatically registered for the campaign events. So for the MVP, the only information I'll be collected from participants is their Wiki username. So that's why once they just click on registration, they are registered and no other information is asked of them apart from their usernames. Next slide. Sorry, previous slide. So, and if for any reason participants want to cancel their registration, they can click on the edit registration. Next slide. And they are given the option to cancel their registration or leave the campaign. Next slide. So when campaign organizers have created multiple registrations for their events, or when you have created even just one event registration for their events, this is like a dashboard where they get to see the list of all the campaign events registrations they have created, and they can get an overview of the information about the campaign events and the number of persons who have registered for the events. So you can see the name of the event, the time and date. You can see the number of people who have registered, and you can see the option that appears where you can decide to edit the registration. You can view. You can go to the dashboard or whatever event metrics or whatever tracking tool you have. You can go to the event page. You can duplicate the registration to create a new one. You can close the form to stop people from registering, or you can delete the form. So if you click on this rectangular box, it will take you to an event detail page. Next slide. So here you get to see the full list of persons who have registered for your event, and you also get to see like the URL, so which you can copy and share to on whatever platforms you like to promote your event. So apart from just seeing the list of people that have registered, you can perform additional actions like selecting all the participants and sending them a message. So when you click on message, you get this side box that appears by the right. So where you can enter the message you want to send to the participants, and you can choose what method you would like to send the message, whether you want to send it via the user talk pages or via the participants' emails. Next slide. So one more thing on the previous slide, you could, if for any reason you could also decide to remove a participant from the registration, if any such issue occurs. So this is the current flow for campaign organizers to create registration create a registration process for the campaign events or for participants to register for the campaign event. So this is the current ideas we have for how the process should look like. So this is not the final. These are just very early designs on how we think it will look like. So I'll hand it over to Felix. So handle the Q&A. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Gregory. Thank you very much, Ilana. Very, very, very important presentation indeed. Thank you all for joining. I already see a question in the chat, so please use the Q&A button at the top to ask your questions. The first question I think would go to Ilana, and the question is, this is a great initiative. Congratulations. When likely are you looking to launching this tool?
Thank you, first of all, for the positive and kind words. Now, for when we're likely to launch, so a little context on our team is that we just brought on, we're going to have 3 engineers so far, maybe more in the future. 2 just joined, 1 joins next week. And one of like the first rules, I guess you could say, of software development is that you can't really make a great prediction until you have engineers. And even when you have engineers, it can be hard to totally predict, because with software development, there's unexpected blockers and things that come up. So we don't know for sure. I'll say that a few things though. We would love if, say by the summertime, there's something that's testable. Don't hold me to it. It could be earlier, it could be later. You know, this is very early on because we don't have the engineers yet, but that's something to maybe think about. Is this isn't like years away is the point to bring up. Like, we're going to be working on it and it's our #1 priority. So we're hoping that, you know, sometime in 2022, this will be something you can test out and use for your campaign events. Another part too, though, is we'll have more of an idea of when that will be in the future. So the best way to find out when we do know more is to keep in touch with us through our various channels. So we have a project page where we share all our updates as a team. We also have a subscription list where about every, say, 4 to 6 weeks, we post a mass message on your user talk page on team updates. And in those kinds of updates, we'll be sharing stuff around our timeline. So please stay in touch with us, and like we will also let you know when we have more of an idea. And I also see that Bobby had a second part to the question, which I can also address, which is, and seeing that many Africans access Wikimedia through mobile devices, is this tool mobile friendly? So while we haven't built it yet, what we imagine is that it'll have a desktop and mobile version. So the future of the tool, yes, we want it to be mobile friendly. That's very important to us as well, because we know that many people around the world are accessing campaign events on mobile devices. So since we do plan, though, to have a desktop and mobile version, it's really a question of what we build first. Do we build a desktop version first, or do we build a mobile version first? Also, remember, there's the organizer side and there's the participant side. So the organizer side is where you configure the registration form. And the participant side is that bottom sheet you saw on the event page where the participants can click to register. Another thing we could think of is maybe the organizer side is it, you know, maybe we do, for example, the organizer side desktop first, if we hear that organizers want that one first in desktop, but maybe the participant side is mobile. It can be any combination. So my question for all of you, and feel free to share now in the chat or on our Project Talk page or reach out to us directly. I'm wondering, what do you all think we should build first? Because we haven't started building anything. Would you prefer that we build the desktop version first or the mobile version first? And what do you want, or would you want like a different thing, one mobile, one desktop for the organizer and participant side?
Actually, someone says in the chat, build all at once.
I wish. So another thing is, because we have 3 engineers, we don't have like 20 engineers. We have to be really, we have to just pick one thing first, unfortunately. But I will say then, it doesn't mean if we pick something first, we don't do the rest. So let's say we pick desktop first, or we pick mobile first, and you wanted the opposite. It doesn't mean we're not doing it. It just means we do it afterward. And there's a lot from whatever we do first that we can use in the other. So because the logic in the back end will be the same, it'll be about a lot of the presentation and the front end that will vary. So they'll still be like, once we do the first one, the second one will probably be faster than the first one. So that's another thing to expect, no matter which one we choose.
I've actually published a poll in the chat area, so please let us know what you think about having a desktop version built first or a mobile version being built first. And there was something else that was asked, I quote verbatim, how do I get a link from the man who just presented? Well, there are 2 gentlemen who have been presenting, so we don't know which link it is that you need. Maybe you could let us know in the chat area. But a question for you, Ilana, even as you are developing these tools, who are the people that you are using to test their efficacy in terms of the software development cycle? Have you reached out to people, or is it an in-house thing so far?
So I'll briefly talk about it, and then if Felix or Gregory want to comment too, feel free. So I think, like, you know, because we're a Wikimedia team, we want to get feedback all the time, at the beginning, in the middle, in the end. So I talked a little bit about some of the feedback collection we did before we even launched the project, where we reached out to organizers. Some people in this call or in this event, I may have reached out to them myself via email. That's how you might have first met me. So that was our first step. But now that we're building, we want to start actually thinking about user testing. So that's different kinds of testing. So some of it is testing the prototype. So before we even build anything, we want to see what people think about our plans. In other words, is it intuitive? Does it make sense? Once we also actually do build something, before we release it to all the wikis, we also want to get feedback. So that's where usually we'd have an early version in a test environment, like beta wiki or test wiki or something, and people could try it out and see if it works for them. So before we actually release it live to wikis, people can let us know if there's any like bugs, or if there's any concerns, or if there's something that doesn't really make sense to their like wikis or their languages or their contexts. So we want to do all that feedback collection. And then even when we do release, we'll still probably hear feedback. And from then, we will also potentially do more updates and improvements. Now, where we are in the cycle now is we're planning some prototype testing. So those wireframes that Gregory shared, we're going to be like doing some testing to see what people think about those. And that's where we're at now. Gregory, is there anything else you would like to add around that?
Yeah, well, for the user testing, we're currently in the middle of it. We just started last week, and we have reached out to many members of the Wikimedia community to help us test out and give their feedback. And also, apart from those members of the Wikimedia community, because campaigning events are ways in which, it's one of the ways in which new members to the community join to campaign events. So apart from reaching out to members of the Wikimedia community, testers are also reaching out to non-Wikimedians to see, okay, how intuitive is this designed, for people who aren't conversant with how Wikimedia operates. So I've tested with both members of the Wikimedia community and non-members of the Wikimedia community.
Okay, and just to add a little bit to that, I just want to highlight that one of the focus regions for this testing of our tool is Africa, Africa, Africa. So I'm excited about it, and that's the reason why we thought it wise to bring this to you, actually. So yeah, super excited.
But just to think a little bit ambitiously, is there any chance that these tools will be in local languages, or they will be in English, French, Portuguese?
Yeah, so one of the things that's really important for any tools we build is they should be usable for all the wikis. That's one of our requirements. If it's just in English, it's not good enough. That is not what we want to build at all. It should be usable for all the wikis. So what we'll be doing is we'll be following a lot of the same standards and processes that other teams of the foundation do, in that, like, our prototypes, like as you can see, they're in English. And then when we eventually build it, we might first have we have the labels in English, and then we submit it to Translate Wiki, and it can be translated in other languages. So we'll be going through the process of having things translated into other languages of the wikis, so it can be useful for a lot of different languages and contexts.
Okay. So do we see the demise of the trusted dashboard at some point, or is it going to be enhanced?
So this is something that comes up a lot when we ask questions, which is some organizers use X tool. Will that go away completely? So while we want to improve tools and workflows, and there'll be new tools we build, we think that some organizers will always use certain tools, right? Like, no matter what we build, it's not like 100% of organizers will use all our tools. Different people have different needs and different things they want. For that reason, when you saw the way we designed registration, we put the registration sheet at the bottom, like as a separate bottom sheet in the event page. And that was very intentional, because we know that different organizers create event pages in different ways. And instead of telling them, okay, you need to have this register button here in your event page, we allow them the flexibility. So that's kind of the philosophy we're going to be having for other stuff we build. So we want to build things in a modular way. We'll build different tools. Organizers can use all of them, or they can use some of them. So similarly for tracking, we do imagine a future in which we have enhanced tracking tools that we either improve or build entirely, like from the ground up. We don't quite know yet, because we haven't really dug into the tracking space. But no matter what we do, we also want to make sure that they're integrated with existing tracking tools like the dashboard. But like the last point I'll say is when I talk to organizers, the number one request I heard, I mean, there's a lot of things people want, but one thing that came up again and again is improvements of the tracking tools. I know that's really important. As a team, we know that's important. So we definitely want to see what improvements we can make in the future for them.
All right. Thank you very much, Ilana, for that. And Bobby has a question. Bobby, please unmute yourself and let us know what you'd like to share with us. Hello, Bobby. He's disappeared. All right. Bobby had his hand raised, and maybe he's shy. Maybe he'll communicate it in the chat area. But let's see who else. All right. Bobby, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Very well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Look, I wanted to type, but I think my comment is very long, So it's just only a comment to say, is it possible that you can think about to add a platform on the same tool where Wikipedians who are interested in onboarding newbies, can register there, can just register there in their own languages, so that newbies, they can go to those Wikipedians anytime they want to, they need help. Not necessarily the organizer himself or herself of the event. So I was just, saying that because of the, when what we see, recently, what have we observed recently on Wikipedia, that it's very difficult, especially on Wikipedia itself, for newbies, to find people that will just be friendly to them and be welcoming to them. And when they create articles, those newbies can, those people, those organizers can just, just help them, but in a friendly manner, than to take the entire article, for speedy deletion, something like that. Thanks, over to you.
Thank you for sharing that. A few thoughts came to mind. First, are you aware of the newcomer homepage? I'll share in the chat. This doesn't, I think, completely answer your question, but I think this is maybe part of the answer. So the growth team at the Wikimedia Foundation, which is really focused on newcomers, how to support them, how to make sure they feel like they know what to do and they feel empowered. So this page gives more information about the newcomer homepage. So the newcomer homepage helps train newbies on early tasks. And once someone is a newbie and they create an account, they're often on many wikis redirected to this page. It also assigns a mentor to them. So the mentor right now isn't tied to any organized campaign organizer system, but we could, potentially in the future, before campaign events or after campaign events, we could direct campaign participants, especially if they're newcomers, to the newcomer homepage, and potentially their mentor could be the campaign organizer they recently interacted with. Other cool things with the newcomer homepage is it shows your impact. So I think it's sometimes hard for newbies to know, okay, well, I edited this article. Does that matter? Do people care? So it actually shows everything you edited, and it shows which ones were most viewed. So you can kind of get like a list of articles you worked on sorted by popularity, essentially, which can be very motivating for newbies. So that's one thing that we would love to integrate our tools with in the future is the newcomer homepage. But there's also stuff around supporting newcomers that we plan to potentially build ourselves. So I'm going to go back quite a few slides, so bear with me. Oh, I went too far back. Okay, so these are the 11, campaign event requests that we identified. A few of them that really tie into this concept of like the participant experience and how to make newcomers feel more welcomed and supported, like they belong, and that there's a reason for them to be there, are what we call participant centers. So this is a future space that we imagine. So again, we want to create a two-sided platform, the organizer side and the participant side. And we're imagining the participant side. We don't know quite yet what it is. We would love your ideas and feedback because we haven't really done research on it yet. But it'll be a place where participants can, somehow like have a sense of their identity as someone who participates in campaigns, that their contributions are important. It can maybe show something around their impact in the campaigns or what they contributed in relation to the campaign goal. We've also heard from some organizers that they love what we're calling like participant support tools. So in other ways to encourage participants during the event or even after the event, so they feel like there's a reason for them to be there and they know what to do. And then we also have a concept called next steps, which is what you do with campaign participants after the event. So report out their impact. Maybe for high-performing participants, give some sort of recognition or a certificate or a reward and direct them in what to do next, whether it's other campaigns they can join or wiki projects they can join or whatever it may be. So we really want to give more of a complete experience to newcomers so they don't feel kind of lost in the system, and so we can have more people actually become active long-term editors.
Okay, and just to add a little bit to that, I think Bobby, you also mentioned how people who want to mentor new participants can be involved. I think the newcomer homepage, actually, that Ilana mentioned, gives that opportunity for people who are interested to sign up to be mentors, and so you can look at that. I also wanted to point out some other questions on the chat that we've already answered in the chat as well. So people are asking, like, how do we join the mailing list? We've actually posted a link in there. It's actually a subscription list. So yeah, you can sign up there and we will get in touch with you. Alice.
Sorry, I keep muting and then unmuting myself. Practice of good manners, obviously. So, as an individual, I look forward to the launch of these tools. I'm just a little bit confused because, the functionality that's been mentioned is something that is already being done in the physical realm, assigning mentors or tracking. People have all human ways of that. So maybe when this is automated, there will be less stress for the organizers, especially when it comes to the one-on-one interactions. I'm especially interested in seeing how the mentorship bit will work and the results that will be coming from it. I will sign up so that I can get a mentor. This time I will not be a mentor. I want to get a mentor for myself. So I'm interested in how that is going to work. Don't laugh.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, just so you can test how this whole thing is working out, right?
I know, but then my concern also is who will be vetting the mentors? At what point do you even know that you're qualified to be a mentor? But that is something that's far away from the technical processes. That's a human process, yeah. But I will sign up to be mentored, not to test. There's still a lot that I need to learn on that. So Bobby says, thanks, Ilana. Titus, I know where you live. Bobby says, thanks, Ilana. Looking forward to the link to the page. And I think at this point, there are no other questions. We have around 8 minutes left to the end of the session. Ilana, Gregory, Felix, any other ideas that you'd like to share with the audience? Anything that we have missed out? Any key dates? Is there any testing going on right now? Are we about to deal with the prototype anytime soon? Please let us know before we leave.
So right now we're doing a few things, and a lot of them involve getting feedback on the wireframes. So we shared our link to the project page in the chat, and I'll share it again right now, just in case people didn't see the first time. So please check out our project page and share your feedback, either about the project in general or on the wireframes. On our talk page. And for my end, I also just wanted to say we collect feedback in any form, all forms. So you can share feedback at the talk page. You can also feel free to reach out to any of the presenters today individually if you have any more questions or comments. But our number one thing is we really do want to hear from all of you. We're not building something that we have like 100% all forms in our head. We really want this to be collaborative, where we work with volunteers and we build something that can be helpful to a lot of different people. So that's it for me. I'll hand it to Felix and Gregory.
All right. Any next steps beyond that? Felix, Gregory?
Yeah, so I just would like to share that maybe to just reiterate what Ilana said. I think it's very important at this point for you to share your feedback, mostly because nothing has been built yet. And I want to reiterate that nothing has been built yet. And so your feedback will shape this whole project into what it possible should look like for all of you. And so I encourage you to go to our pages and share. I think the highlight is share, right? And share your feedback.
Spread the word in the churches and the shrines.
Exactly. Share your feedback so we can do this together. One other thing I wanted to point out is that this is a first step in trying to build a proper organizing ecosystem. And so this is one of our first iterations and first projects to work on. There will be more coming up. So just keep on watching the campaign's meta page, and I'm pretty sure you'll be updated.
All right. Thank you very much. Any final remarks from you, Gregory?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be done with the testing by this week.
Mm,
We'll take all the feedback from gotten and use it to improve the product to ensure it serves everyone. And I
mm.
also know I think we also reached out to you, but it seems you weren't able to make it. So in case you want to
No, no, no.
schedule that
Forgive,
call,
forgive. Don't say my secrets. We'll talk later.
okay, yeah, yeah. So that'll be all.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having attended this session. Thank you for having expressed interest in the tools that are being developed for the campaigns. And as Ilana has said, it is not something that is being built in isolation. A number of us have been involved at different points, one point or the other. So if you've not yet been approached, you can volunteer your services for that. Um, there's nothing really special about the selection. Like I said, I await to be mentored, but from the team, from Felix, Gregory, and Ilana, Stella, for trust and safety. Thank you so much for attending this session. And in case you want to watch it again, it will still be available on the AirMeet platform. A recording of it will be available. See you in the next sessions and enjoy your Sunday. Bye for now.